Support our hashtag creatives on Jess TV, hosted by Alan Greenstein. Our special guest is Kseniya Yorsh, line producer. We will learn what a line producer does, discuss her projects, including two-timing Gemini and Venus as a Boy, collaboration between producer and director, and more. This is a recording of a live broadcast, so expect some imperfections during the show. There was some editing performed on the original recording. Enjoy the show.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Alan Greenstein. This is the Supporter Hashtag Creatives podcast. Now, through my brand Supporter Hashtag Creators, we level the playing field for underrepresented creators and artists so that they have the same opportunities as everybody else to get their projects created, distributed, and seen. I'm also on the board of directors of the Bella Levy Foundation, and the goal of the Bella Levy Foundation is to fight human trafficking and provide a safe haven for its warriors. So tonight, I'm so happy to bring on Kseniya Yorsh, line producer, and we're going to learn all about what that means and some of the projects she's worked on. And Kseniya, take it away. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Kseniya Yorsh. I'm originally from Belarus, and I moved to Los Angeles 13 years ago. And I have been working as a line producer, production manager, and project manager.
Okay. So how did you get your start?
I always knew that I wanted to work in film, but I didn't know that would be something that would be possible for me because, I'm from a small country in Eastern Europe. The film industry is not very well developed back home. And so I originally got my education and got a degree in a completely different field and worked in a completely different industry, and then just took a leap of faith and came to LA for a very short film course just to kind of put a check mark and say that I've tried it and I failed. And I was sure that it would be a very quick trip. And then when I got here, I realized that people who work in film are the same people like me. You don't need to be anybody special. You just need to really want to do that. B, that it really was something that I wanted to do for a living and for the rest of my life, hopefully. And then C, that I think a lot of things that I had naturally been doing my whole life, they fell into the category of producing. I just didn't know that. But they were always presented to me as kind of like character flaws that I needed to overcome. Like, oh, you're too pushy, you're too proactive, you always have ideas, you always want to put people together and do something. And here it turned out that was called producing, and I could do it for a living. So I was like, I just want to do as much as I can. And I quickly started to work on absolutely everything that I could come across. And that was my start.
Oh, fantastic. I want to welcome June DeGiso, filmmaker that I work with on many projects. So he's saying welcome. So thanks, June, for joining us tonight. Okay, so now you have to tell us what exactly is a line producer? What does a line producer do? How does it fit into the whole realm of making a film?
Yes. So I want to start for people who don't know anything about film or producing with a common misconception that producers are people who invest in films and that you become a producer by giving money to the film. It is possible to have a producer credit, specifically being an executive producer, if you invest your money in the project. But broadly speaking, producers are people who make things happen. So they are the people behind the organizational structure of the film and behind taking a script and a creative vision that a director has and then making it into a tangible project that can be watched as a film. So that said, there are a lot of different types of producers. There are some producers who focus on the script and the story and developing that. There are some people who are producers by bringing financing or attaching cast or kind of making the financing side happen. And then there are line producers like myself who, when the financing is in place and when you have the script that is locked and finished, We then take it and we are responsible for the actual physical production of the project. So that might mean on smaller projects, establishing the legal structure for the project. So like opening your LLC and your bank account. It can be working with your accountant. And it's basically hiring the people who would be responsible for the physical production of the film. So it's your locations people, your camera department, all of the departments. So you hire people, you get all the necessary things in place, like you find your locations and you get your vendors on board, and you make sure that the film happens on schedule and within the budget. And then you deliver it as a finished project. So that's what line producers do, and that's what one of my biggest passions in life is.
Oh, so it sounds like that the producer, this is like the producer hires the line producer, and then you take over and do, just like you said, the hiring and all, and manage the locations and stuff like that.
Yes, exactly. So I work very closely with the director and the first AD, but I report to the lead producer on the film or lead producers on the film. And I basically am responsible for making sure we don't spend too much money, that our finances are in a good shape, and that we do get through our days and we film what we need to film. So it's kind of like being in between your crew, the crew that I bring on board and that I hire and that I advocate for and who I champion, and then the financiers and the producers who I report to.
Yeah. So what happens if you find that you're running over budget? What do you do to alleviate that?
Well, one thing is in line producing or in any sort of production management, you prepare for everything that would go wrong. So in pre-production, that means that there's a line item in the budget for contingency for all of those unforeseen expenses. But on good productions, what you do is you prep as much as possible, and you take into account as many of those things as possible, and you try to budget for them beforehand. And then when that happens in real time, you have somewhere to pull that money from. Now, if it happens and it's like a completely unforeseen scenario, then you are not responsible for completely mitigating the problem, but you are responsible for assessing it in real time, putting a pause when it needs to happen, and then informing whoever needs to be informed so you can collectively make a decision on what the best way to proceed is. So you don't need to be a miracle worker on making sure nothing bad ever goes. You just need to have a really cold head on your shoulders and make sure you can assess problems in real time and try to come with the best plan forward.
Yeah, okay. And that's true for even non-financial matters. Like, let's say you arrange to have a particular set be used, but that falls through, for example. I guess you're in charge of making sure that you find the new set and like that.
Yeah, it's actually my favorite part of the job is kind of dealing with things that come up in real time. And for me, I see it in a little more poetic way, as that a line producer is like the grounding force of the production. You need to be able to take everything going on, all the creative chaos that is going on in a good way. Like you need to have your creatives be chaotic and really dream and envision. You need to take all of that. You need to take the very practical, tangible things that your crew need as people who need to know their craft, who need to deliver specific things. You absorb all of that, all of the egos, expectations, deadlines, and then you are the one who's able to sift it through and then come up with a streamlined way forward.
Oh, okay. Very important role. Yeah. I want to point out that you mentioned executive producing, and that's typically the area where I get involved when I'm involved with a film. Well, except when I'm not acting it with my wife Randy, we do that as well. But a lot of times we do executive producing type stuff. Yeah.
There we go. See, all producers are important because without you, films would not happen, because it all comes down to having the money to shoot your film. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So you've been involved in doing features and shorts. How many projects have you been a part of?
Yeah, so I have done 5 feature films, and that includes narrative and documentaries, and then a little bit more than 30 short films and commercials and music videos.
Oh, wow, commercials and all different kinds of things that you do, and I guess the challenges, of course, with doing commercials a lot different than doing a feature. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Yeah. Okay. And let's see. Oh, so we're going to talk about some of your specific projects, by the way, as we go along. So, okay. So you've been involved on lots of different things. Okay. So, uh, we're going to take a break for a brief commercial, and we'll be right back. I'm Alan Greenstein, founder and producer at Support Our Creatives. At Support Our Creatives, I offer a number of services to support those developing a project. Check out the services tab of my website at supportourcreatives.com. If you are interested, please use the contact tab on my website or email me directly at alan@supportourcreatives.com. We're back. Okay. In your project, are you primarily involved in the indie world?
Yes. So, I mean, I did some work for bigger production companies, but still the work that they produce falls under independent filmmaking.
Okay.
So yes, so far the last 13 years and the first 13 years of my film career have been in the indie space.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the same for me. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's talk about two-timing Gemini. That's one of the few specific projects we're going to be talking about today. And I found out about you from Fiona Kaida, and you're working with her on this particular project. So, how did you come to work with her?
So it's I think most film projects start the same way for everyone. It's like somebody knows someone, and then someone refers you, or you come across an opportunity, right? It's not like it's a job posting and then you apply to it or something like that. So Fiona and I have a mutual friend, another producer whose name is Jem Little. And Jem was supposed to produce this short film for Fiona, but she had a scheduling conflict. And so she introduced Fiona and me. And we just really hit it off and felt like it would be a good idea for us to work together.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I've known Fiona for a while. Worked on a project or two with her myself, including this one. Okay. This is a feature or a short, and tell us about the storyline.
So Two Timing Gemini is a short film about an artist who is about to premiere his latest work and a moral dilemma that comes up right before his showcase opens.
Okay, wow. Okay. And what is your role in this? Is that line producer, or is once again
Yes.
just like
So again, I came on board as a line producer and worked in that capacity.
okay, yeah. And what phase in the life cycle of the film is Two Timing Gemini right now?
So we are right now in post-production. We have the first cut of the film done. So moving along. So we're still about one or two cuts away from the picture lock, and then we'll need to do obviously sound mixing and color grading and finishing.
Yeah. Are you involved in any of that post-production work? Does line producer have any involvement in post-production?
So that's a good question. It actually depends on the project. Sometimes there is a post-production supervisor who kind of takes over the post process and then gives the costs and reports on the progress to line producer. Sometimes a line producer is involved. Sometimes a line producer is not involved. It really depends. With Fiona, she is working directly with the editor, and I'm just kind of still keeping my eye on where we are financially and making sure we are still on track with the overall funds for the film.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Yeah. And is there a projected release date?
We don't have it yet. We originally had one release strategy for the film, but as we are in post-production now, we are discovering more avenues for where this film might go. So that's going to be a question to Fiona, but I would say a little bit later this year, maybe in the fall, is when the film will be completed and finished and out in the world.
Oh, what kind of okay, that's fantastic. Good to know. I'll be looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, let's talk about another project that you've been involved, which is called Venus as a Boy. I think it's from 2019. Is that correct?
Yes. So, and I'll explain to people watching or listening why exactly we wanted to pair these two projects together. Venus as a Boy is a feature film, but it's also about an artist and the artistic process that that person is going through. And in real life, the funny coincidence was that we filmed Two Time in Gemini on the same location that was one of the locations for Venus as a Boy. And I just had such a full circle moment when I walked into that soundstage, and it had already been booked while the initial producer was on board. So I wasn't involved in that process. And I was like, oh my God, wait, it's another project about an artist. I remember filming Venus as a Boy right before, COVID happened and lockdown, and just in my personal life, in that period of time, I kind of switched a little bit to a different line of work and then had a child. And now years later, I'm back on the same location, making another film about an artist. COVID is done. So it's like 7 years later. And I feel like I'm a different person. The world is completely different. But here I am again, making a film about subject matter that is near and dear to my heart, which is I love films about artists.
Well, film about artists. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And once again, is this once again line producer in this this film?
So for Venus as a Boy, I was a production manager.
Okay.
Our production department was relatively small. We had a lead producer, the line producer, and myself as a production manager. So it was a slightly different capacity, but it was still in the production department.
Oh, okay. Wow. Were there any, let's say, setbacks or hurdles to get over during the production of this film? Do you happen to recall?
Always. There are always some hurdles that you go through on any project, but I think one of the most memorable ones that we often remember, we were filming like in this beautiful, gorgeous house on location. And there were so many strict rules about that location, and it was already kind of a little bit of a strain on the production department just to make sure we don't mess anything up. And I remember one day we were sitting it was like one of the rooms that we made into a production office. And as we are looking up, we see the water starting to come through the light bulbs. So it's like the water from the second floor, and it's coming through the light bulbs and starting to drip on everything. And it turned out one of the bathrooms that was supposed to be off limits flooded. And not only did it flood, it also like went through the electrical system and started flooding the first floor. And oh my God, first of all, it's an unsafe situation. Second of all, it's like immediately you go, God, how much is it going to cost us, this whole situation and dealing with it? But and we had to deal with it for a long time with insurance and repairs and damage to the location. And, nobody's fault. It just kind of happened. That's what happens on film. But it's great to remember years later.
Oh, well, but everybody got through it. Yeah.
As always.
Yeah. So, where can Venus as a Boy be seen currently?
Yeah, so you can watch it on Amazon Prime, on Hulu, and on Tubi. But if you just Google the title of the film, and sort through some of the searches, because oftentimes a song comes up with the same title. But if you get to the film, it will have the links and the platforms where it's currently available on.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Okay, everybody, remember that. And it'd be definitely be worth watching. Yeah. Okay. All right. So once again, we're gonna stop for a brief commercial. Okay, and we'll be right back. I'm Alan Greenstein, founder and producer at Support Creatives. If you make something, albeit make a movie, start a business, write a book, make a physical product, run a nonprofit, promote people, are a songwriter, etc., you too are a creative, and I would love to have you be a guest on the Supporter Creatives podcast. If you want to be featured on this podcast, please use the contact tab on my website at supportourcreatives.com or email me directly at alan@supportourcreatives.com. Okay, we are back. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about producers and directors and how they collaborate on a project.
Yes, this is a subject matter that is near and dear to my heart, because I think it's such an important kind of like a work marriage, a creative marriage that happens between two people, because basically you have a script, which is 100 pages of a text that can be interpreted in a variety of different ways. And you have two different people coming together to make it happen. You have your director, who is going to bring the creative vision and their own unique sensibilities to what kind of film to make it into. And then you have a producer who's responsible for interpreting that creative vision and making like a blueprint, a specific actionable plan on how exactly you can make it work with the limited resources that you have. Because creative visions oftentimes are really, the magnitude of them might not match the resources that you have. But I think the reason why that relationship is so important is because a good producer will never make a director feel like they need to change their vision or cut something out, but instead they will make it work with whatever they have. So I think it's so important with whoever you work with, for the director and producer, for the director to really trust their producer and know that they are working with somebody who has their best interest in mind. And for a producer to, in an ideal scenario, choose directors whose creative vision you believe in, because those are the people who will be making requests and changes that will keep you up at night. That, early morning on a Sunday, you will be taking a shower and thinking, how on earth are we going to be able to make that scene work? Like, we don't have the money for it. And so it's better be somebody whose vision you truly believe in, and for whom you would want to push through those challenges and make certain sacrifices and make it work. So I think as much as possible, I know on bigger projects, oftentimes, the producer will hire a line producer and will hire a director, and those people just kind of have to work together. But on smaller projects where you do have the luxury of kind of choosing each other, it's important to choose somebody who you truly like, who you feel you can trust, and whose working style is similar to yours.
Yeah. Did you say earlier the line producer also hires a director, or is that something that the producer would do?
No. So if there are lead producers, so let's say the script came together by producers finding some intellectual property that they like. It could be a script that they decided to option, or maybe it's a book and they bought the rights to it. In that case, they are in the position where they would attach a director to it, and then they would hire a line producer. So then a line producer and the director just kind of find themselves being hired on a project. But on small projects, oftentimes the person who wrote the script is the director and is a producer in a way. It's like, I'm making my own project. let me bring somebody else who I can delegate the production to. And then in that case, you have your line producer and your director working as collaborators who are kind of interviewing each other and deciding, like, do I want to come on this project? Is it the right project for me? And that's, I think, those are the situations where what I said would apply to.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I want to say hi to Crystal Starnes. I've worked with her in the past, and she gives voices to people who who might be considered to be voiceless. They have some tragedy or a tough moment in their lives. She interviews them and goes to as a voice for victims, and so that's one of the things that she's best known for. So hi, Crystal. So glad to have you here. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, good. So we learned about the relationship between producer and director is very important. Okay. So let's see. So what's next for you?
A couple of things. So first of all, I the last 5 years I have been working at a creative agency that takes on projects or works with organizations that have some with value-based organizations that have whose mission is kind of for the good of the world. So a lot of my day-to-day work the last 5 years have been in project management on projects that are outside of film, but that have some filmed aspects to them. So it could be a commercial or documentary piece. But outside of that, we also do a lot of other things like branding and marketing and advertising, just more traditional things that a creative agency would do. So that has been an ongoing work for me and continues to be the case. I also mentioned that I had a kid 5 years ago in the middle of the pandemic. So I was busy for a few years trying to figure out how to navigate that with all of the work that I'm doing. But now that she's a little bit older, I started taking on more film projects again and bringing her on set. So I still try to take on short form content. So short films or branded shoots or non-union commercials, something that I can kind of quickly take on and get done. And then, that doesn't put a lot of strain on her and on me and on my job. But as of this year, a couple of very interesting feature films came my way that I'm currently attached to as a line producer. They are in various stages. It's like 4 different feature films created by 3 different companies. So one of them is developing 2 films. They are in various stages of development, so I cannot accurately tell when exactly they will go in production, but really excited about all of them. Wonderful storylines, different genres. They range from drama to action film. But that's what I'm kind of have in the works, and I'm just going to see when the timing comes for all of them.
Oh, wow. So do most of the films projects you work on, are they done in the Los Angeles area, or have you been traveling to other parts of the country to do any of your projects?
I actually did projects outside of LA. Yes, the majority of them, yes, they happen somewhere here, but I did some shoots in Texas. I did shoots in Louisiana, in New York, and some of them I traveled to. Some of them where it was just like a couple of days shoot. We would hire local crew to do that. For the upcoming films, actually neither one of them is supposed to film in LA, which is kind of expected given everything that is happening in the industry now. But one of them is slated for Kentucky to take advantage of their tax credit. The other one would be happening in Chicago. The third one is in the Bay Area, but I don't know yet if practically that's something that we would be able to film. And then lastly, the last one, I don't know yet where it would be. We are looking at a couple of different states where we would be able to take advantage of tax credits. So, I think I'm joining a lot of filmmakers and film crews that find themselves in a situation where we need to travel outside of LA in order to be able to film something affordably.
Yeah. Well, yeah, makes sense. As a line producer, you would be very interested in knowing what states have special consideration for filmmakers. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, what advice can you provide for people who would like to do what you do, who would like to be a line producer?
Um, I think to do anything in life, in any industry, you need to be really obsessed with what you're doing and obsessive about it. You need to be obsessive with your craft, and that starts first. I think it's more important to focus on what you want to do than who you want to be. Because if you find what you want to do, then you find ways to incorporate it into your daily life. And it's not even a chore that you're doing. It stops being a work that you schedule in specific work hours. You just find that thing that you're passionate about and you start doing it, whether it's a hobby or a project you're doing with friends or a job that you apply to. But by focusing on what you're doing, I know it's such a cliche, but it is true. You will start expanding the field of what is possible for you and meeting like-minded people or seeing the job opportunities that align with that thing that you're doing. So for line producing specifically, I think it's a combination of two things. I think it's important to be a very I want to say like a person who is emotionally in tune with others. So have a high level of emotional intelligence, because you need to have that intuitive understanding of what your creatives need and what your crew needs and what the people who are giving the money for the film, what they need, and to
Yeah.
be able to not just read the room, but find different ways of relating to those different types of people and working with them to achieve the same goal, which is make a film. So that's one side of it. It's like your people skills and your emotional intelligence and your intuition and some sort of creative discernment for the projects you take on and knowing what's good and what's not good. The other side of it is being very detail oriented and very organized and knowing how to take a goal or a vision and break it down into like, okay, what exactly does it take? What kind of resources? What kind of plan does it take to achieve that? Who do I need to delegate which part of that? Who do I need to assign tasks and responsibilities? And how much resources do I need to allocate to that? And being able to meticulously go through that step by step with all of the hurdles that are coming your way, but not bringing that emotional, intuitive side of yours into a very business oriented and very logical process of making a film. So I think whatever makes a person work on those two aspects of their personality, and it can be in any job or any industry you're in right now, learning to do that and then having the guts to take on your first project, which could be a teeny tiny project you do for a friend or for a film student, and knowing that you want to, from now on, announce to the world that that's what you do, you are a line producer, and then taking it on and growing with your projects, growing your professionalism.
Yeah. Well, it's great advice, great nuggets of information for people who are interested in getting into the biz. It's really great. Yeah. So, how can people get in touch with you?
I think the best way would be my email, which is my first name dot last name at gmail.com. All my social media accounts are private. I don't really use them for my, I don't know, for business or to promote my work. So
Yeah.
email would be the best way to get in touch with me.
Okay. Kseniya.yorsh@gmail.com. Okay. Very good. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. I'm just thankful for the opportunity to be here today. Thank you for bringing me on, and for
Oh,
whoever
yeah.
spent the last 30, 40 minutes with us, thank you for listening.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for. I'm so happy that that you agreed to be on the show, because I want people to learn about what my guests do, and that my major goal is for that. So I want to thank people who are watching this live, as well as those who are watching this on the replay. The replay is we see it on multiple platforms like Spotify, and also on a Canadian platform called Jess TV, Jess TV. So we'll be on the lookout for that. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And once again, thank Kseniya for being on as well. And with that, I'm going to say good night, everybody.